Good evening, guys. Welcome to our first live for our
2024.
2024, actually, yeah. And this is our 10th year we've been operating this business. And we're having a...
Not charters. We did 30 years of charters, but this is
not
10.
talking charters. I don't do charters anymore.
Yeah.
Don't tell that, otherwise I'll get inundated as usual. So yeah, we've been operating this business now for 10 years. It's our 10th birthday.
Online fishing courses.
Yep.
People said we were mad.
People said we were mad. How can you teach fishing online? Well, we're still here. Nothing's changed. The same old every year. So yeah, it's gone really well for us. The biggest drama to us are hackers and scammers.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't go there.
Can everyone hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us, guys? I'm pretty sure you can, but if you can't, please let us know. And turn the volumes up on your phone as well.
Over the cicadas.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the planes are coming in this way at the moment, so it's not planes tonight, it's cicadas. It's always something, eh?
Cicada?
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got a pretty wicked sale going on. Best prices on our courses, especially things like Barra Basics, back to the old 2014 price.
Yeah. $600 off.
Yeah, even cheaper than what we did it during COVID. So, you know, since COVID, as you would know, cost of living and the price of everything has doubled and nearly tripled. The only thing that didn't go up was online fishing courses.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We're actually dropping our prices. We should be tripling them, but we're actually dropping them. We know people are doing it tough, and we're kind of doing it a little, not tough, but it is become a lot more difficult for us with our expenditure doubling and us not raising our prices. So we're trying to keep things realistic, honestly. So anyway, this is the time for anyone who's sitting on the fence to get in, because you'll never get these prices again. And I highly doubt we'll have a 20th birthday sale.
No, I think we'll be retired by then.
Retired by then. So this is your only chance to get on it, guys. For those of you who are hurting in the wallet, this is the best we can do. So I hope you can join us in our courses. We've changed a lot of people's lives, and yeah, we're really proud of it. So,
and we've made some great friends.
Great friends, built some good communities around us, and yeah, we've had a ball. But anyway, guys, tonight's all about, not just all about the courses, of course. We've got some questions regarding any fisheries matters. You want my opinions on them, this, that, the other. We might have a bit of a talk about how natural disasters can have an effect on the ecology of our fisheries, with the recent going on up here. Even if you're not from Queensland, I'm pretty sure you'd be familiar with a lot of the floods and that we've had up north here this year. And
Brisbane now.
And yeah, everywhere, yeah.
And I'd like to know if people have fishing New Year's resolutions.
Yes, and not only do we want to hear from where you're from, also just let us know if you have any New Year's resolutions, and do you expect New Year's fishing resolutions, and do you expect them to come true this year? What are you doing to make it happen? Yeah, exactly. You've got to take action. You've got to take that first step. Yeah. It's just like everything in life.
That's all our courses have. The first module is fishing with strategy.
That's right.
Which is about doing just that.
Exactly. So we'd like to hear what your New Year's resolutions are. I don't have any fishing ones myself. However, it's time for Kara and I to get our health in check. I've really got to do something about my back this year. It is driving me insane. It's becoming really hard to fish. And Karen's, both her shoulders are shot. Yeah. So she's got surgery on both arms in March. Maybe not, might be a procedure without surgery, but we'll see. Don't know yet. Yeah. And my back is later in the year, so don't know what's going to happen with that yet. Anyway, these are the little things we've got to get around in life. Zach said you should do a good price on wonkies because we've had so much rain. All our courses are good prices, mate. Amazing. They'll never be any cheaper than this. Prices. The prices aren't up on the website yet. Probably maybe after this. Yeah. It officially starts tomorrow. That's right. Yeah. So but yeah, nothing cheaper than what's out there now. Otherwise, there's no point in us being in business. Yeah. What else did you want to talk about, honey? There's something else we were going to...
Bruce said, hi, I'm an Atherton local and fish Tinaroo, just done Sounder Skills 1 and Sounder Skills 2. While it's an awesome course, I'm still not confident about finding impoundment barra. I've caught 2 in October and since then over 30 trips and not one more. It's doing my head in and I don't know what to do.
Well,
Barra basics.
That's Barra basics, yeah. We've got an impoundment module in there which spells it out quite plain and simple what you got to do with impoundments.
And have a look at Jake Centofanti up at Tinaroo. He's caught like 1,000 meteries out of Tinaroo since he did the course 5 years ago. He only finished high school a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So if you want to work out Tinaroo...
Tinaroo is the most difficult out of all the impoundments. They call it the Lake of 1,000 casts. And unless you've got everything really in your favour, everything lining up there, it can be long and arduous at times. Like you got places like Peter Faust, where the fish just jump in your boat, whereas up there at Tinaroo, you've almost got to entice them in with $100 bills.
Yeah.
So
the Barra Basics does help you know where to look. See, Sounder Skills 2 shows you how to set up your sounder, what you're looking for, but each of the species courses shows you where to start looking, which of course that's where your time is cut down because it's a big ocean. You can drive around forever looking, or if you know where to start, that's always helpful. Yeah.
So Tinaroo is the most difficult one to work out, and nothing's going to change. I think it's got something to do with the different altitude. It's a lot higher than a lot of the other impoundments, all the other impoundments that we have, and there's got to be something going on there with barometrics and things like that. But yeah, mate, if you live up that way and that's the area that you concentrate on, it'll come with time. You just got to put it all together and just keep trying and trying and trying. Sooner or later, things will work if you don't want to do the barra course, that is. Sooner or later, you'll work this part out, then that bit, and then you'll work them together, then you'll find the third scenario that helps and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's the key too. That's what we do talk about in Fishing with Strategy as well, is working things out one step at a time. Otherwise, too many variables. Yeah.
Now, we've just got back from Lizard Island. We went up there for 2.5 weeks to film our coral trout course. It all went well. We've got it all done.
No, it's not all done.
We got to put it all together yet.
Yeah. The hard part.
We've got the filming done.
Some of the filming. Most of it.
99% of it done. So that's all.
We're married. We argue.
Yeah, we might argue a lot.
Poor darling.
Henpecked husband.
I know you are.
So anyway, that was great. We had a ball up there. The weather was great most of the time. We didn't have all the storms and that of last year because we've got a little bit of a difference in the monsoon this year. I got no idea whether we're in a La Nina or an El Nino weather pattern. We were told we were going back to El Nino, hence the heat waves. And we have got cyclones moving east to west this year, which normally when you're in a full-blown La Nina, they just develop as lows over the Gulf country and they just keep moving east towards Vanuatu. But this year that's changed, but we do have a lot of rainfall, which is not associated a lot with a El Nino weather pattern. But I think with an El Nino, you're still going to get some kind of wet season, but the rain you do get is going to come from a low or a cyclone. Whereas in the La Nina weather pattern, you'll get them from lows and that as well. Plus you also have a lot more active monsoon, and you'll just get a lot more of the northwesterly monsoon activity. Plus the winters are a lot wetter as well, because you get the stronger trade winds, and we get a lot more coastal rain during the winter months as well. So that's why La Nina is traditionally known as the wetter cycle, and El Nino not quite as wet, even though this year we've had some record rainfalls. But I think it's just been because of a couple of events that have been a little bit extreme. So, so what pattern we're at the moment, I'm really not sure. I don't even know the Weather Bureau knows. So anyway, hopefully we'll get some answers on that soon. Now, on our way up to Lizard Island, we saw some massive landslips, and I can tell you there's been a lot of rain falling up there. And oi, quiet. So sorry, dogs are carrying on. Now a lot of those coastal areas between sort of Port Douglas and Cooktown, a lot of coral trout washed up on the beaches, and there was a lot of talk out there about them floating around and a lot of the coral trout dying on the reef. But I don't think that's the case as much. I think it's more the coastal areas like the Barchi coral trout in along all those rocky headlands and inner islands and inner reefs. I think they've been badly affected simply because the amount of fresh water that must have come down those hills is insane. Also, the siltation. We've seen landslides up there that you couldn't put an estimate on the amount of tonnes of red dirt that have been moved. I think previously I've seen 3 or 4 big landslides up there after a wet season. This time there's over 300, so that'll give you an indication of what actually happened. So, yeah, we do have some worries in the fishery up there inshore. Might take several years before it comes back, but certainly offshore, not a problem. The trout are still firing, let me tell you. We had a ball up there, actually some trout. So that was our trip to Lizard, no other dramas. Boat went well. We had a plane crash behind us at Lizard Island and we didn't see it.
We've got lots of questions.
Got lots of questions?
Yeah.
All right, well, we better get into them.
Babbling on about plane wrecks.
All right, I'll stop gibbering on there. Okay, well, let's get into some questions then.
Nannygai bag limits.
Nannygai bag limits. Well, of course, yeah, we've been waiting to hear from fisheries about what's happening with the Nannygai. We do know they're on the table next after Spaniards, and there was some information leaked on Facebook closer to 6 months ago now, I suppose, by the commercial sector or a commercial fisherman saying that they expected the bag limits to be in line with their 2021 recommendations, which was the total allowable catch dropping to 12 tonne from 237 tonne, which means it wouldn't even be one per person, it'll be one per boat, if that was the case. But I don't believe that could be so extreme, because they'll be paying out every charter operator on the East Coast up here, because you take away the Spaniards, you take away the Nannygai, you take away the 2 staples of the charter industry. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be that aggressive, but I wish they would hurry up and come out with it, because we need to know whether we need to stand up and fight this or talking about it being a reasonable recommendation. So I'm hoping it's going to be the latter, of course. I don't think they can go so strict on it. Anyway, time will tell, but I mean, I've got no problem with the bag limit dropping down to say 3. 3 big nannies per person is realistically more than enough, and it gives you the opportunity to go and chase some other fish after that. Problem is, if you go down to 1 per boat or 1 per person, the thing is people are going to stay in that deep water and think, okay, well, we've got our 1 nanny each, or 1 nanny for the boat. Let's try and target some other fish out in the deep water here. So while they're trying to target red emperor and tuskies and all sorts of other things, they're catching more nannies. And of course, we all know they don't survive the deep water with barotrauma, and they'll just be floating off in the distance. So it kind of defeats the purpose of sustainability, really. So anyway, we hope that there's going to be a reasonable trade-off with the Nannygai bag limits, and we're looking forward to hearing from fisheries about that sometime soon, fingers crossed.
All right. Errol from Brisbane wants to catch a mackerel as his New Year's resolution, and said, in Moreton Bay, what would be better, lures, bait or plastic?
Probably not so much plastics. Probably metal slices, larger metal slices thrown into schools of yakkers or pilchards. Don't throw them in where you see the small whitebirds diving on that little tiny bait fish. You're only going to catch tuna in those areas. You want to look for the bigger baitfish schools, like they chase with the Marlin and those sort of things. So dropping big metal slices down around the edges of them and retrieving them vertically really fast is probably one of my favourite ways of chasing Spaniards. Pardon me. Another way is also the wog heads with the gang hooks behind them, trolling.
We've got quite a few free blogs on our website about mackerel.
There is quite a few free blogs on our website, and one of them is showing you how to rig them with the wog heads. So that's another popular way if you like trolling.
Yeah, and another one is also the metal slicers.
Yeah, metal slicers. We've got one on
metal slicers.
More for the smaller mackerel, though, that one is.
Okay.
But it's the same thing, you're just using smaller slicers.
So go to our blog and either Google Ryan Moody, mackerel wog head group, Ryan Moody mackerel metal slicers, and they'll come up.
That's it. That's about that time of year down there too. The Spaniards should be right on down there now, shouldn't
they? Christmas time.
Christmas time, after Christmas, down there. So now's your time to get out there, mate, and give it a crack. So, also high-speed bibless lures is also another popular way. If you want to, that's why you're looking for bait. While you're looking for bait schools, and you're driving around, run a couple of bibless lures out the back. You can troll them at sort of 7-8 knots. And they're another popular way of chasing a lot of those high-speed pelagics.
Craig in Mackay, his New Year's fishing resolution is to buy a boat.
To buy a boat? That's
and he wants you to come back to Mackay.
We'll be back to Mackay at some stage, mate. Definitely, and we'll have another meet-up at the marina. Can't say when, though. We've got a bit of a busy year in front of us.
But you can pick Ryan's brains all the time by doing one of our courses.
We'll pick our courses, you're in the study groups, and you can always pick our brains there.
Yeah.
As
Graham Bishop said hi. He's always watching all our YouTube stuff.
Yeah, mate. How you going?
And Scotty J said, so now I'm only up to here now. There's so many other questions. I'm from Darwin. I've been studying barra locally hard for the last couple of years. My resolution is to finally get a metre in the runoff. Also keen to catch the $1 million fish. They released another 12 barra with $1 million tags last week, so it's sure to go off this year. Boat upgrade if that happens. Good luck, mate.
Fingers crossed, mate. I hope that works out for you. The runoff up there, though, with the metre barra, that's certainly on the cards. It's a great place, territory. We haven't been up for a little while, but itching to get back. And it's not just the runoff, it's during the dry too, because the dry season is very similar to how most of our fishing is here year round. And, I really like their dry season fishing, to be honest. So, especially out on the headlands and that. So,
do Barra Basics and you'll find a whole another raft of places to target.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jonathan Barraquette said your courses are well worth the money. Hi, and thinking of you guys from Sydney. Thanks
mate.
Jonathan.
Cheers, buddy. Appreciate it.
And now I have to scroll down. Is that cicadas in the background? Yes.
Yep, cicadas and a couple of noisy dogs actually tonight. We've got no planes yet though.
No,
it's only because we've got them northerly. They're leaning the other way.
Gary McKean said, hi, mate. How are you going?
G'day, mate. Good.
Is he one of your charter clients? Is that Gary McKean?
Can't remember. I remember fish. I just can't remember all the clients.
Sorry, put you on the spot there. Yeah. Sorry, babe. From Victoria, New Year's resolution is a barrel bluefin tuna. That's Ben Edwards.
It sounds like good fun.
Hard to hear over the cicadas.
Oh, really? They're not that loud here. It's these bloody iPhones, I tell you.
No, they do. The cicadas seem to get picked up easily in a microphone.
Well, they've backed off a little bit now, so maybe it was a comment from earlier.
So just, it could have been a comment from
As it goes dark, they usually shut up.
Yeah.
So now we've got the frogs.
Oh, the cicadas, loud as ASF, yeah, probably. Yeah, cicadas. You could go inside if it's still a problem. Hi, Ryan. What depth, this is from Christopher. Hi, Ryan. What depth do you find ground in open country? What depth
do I find ground in open country? That depends on pretty much the fish that you're targeting. I mean, when I look for finger mark and I'm looking for stuff in open water, naturally that's usually done inshore or up to sort of 25 metres in most areas. I mean, you will catch them deeper, but as long as that deep water is closer to the coast generally. And if I'm chasing reds and trout and all sorts of other things out in the deeper water away from structure, then naturally we do that in sort of 30, 40 metres plus. So it just depends on the depth, mate. There's all sorts of open ground in the way of coral isolates and ferns and sponge beds and all that sort of stuff, wonky holes, all depth ranges. It's out there everywhere. So it just comes down to the species you're chasing and how far out you want to go.
Marlin South Coast, how do I get them up from 0 to 150 metres down?
If you mark a bait school, usually the marlin will be around the bait schools. If you mark them, put a mark on your plotter, and you keep doing figure eights over that area, because sooner or later they're pretty inquisitive, and they'll quite often rise up to have a look at your boat. If it don't work, put out a flash of teaser or something like that. Give them a little bit more to see, entice them up a little bit more. But a lot of the times, generally, the fish will rise up from fairly deep down because they can hear the engines, and after a while, the wash of the boat looks like a bait school out the back. And so realistically, there's not much you can do except mark where the fish are and keep working the area. That's the best bet. And if they are on bait schools, try following the bait schools, because your bait schools just will not sit in one single spot all day. They generally travel with a current. And there's a special way you can work that out by using your GPS and low frequency side imaging. And we've got that in Locating Liveys, how to follow schools of yakkers and pilchards, so you can stay with the schools.
Yeah, so Locating Liveys isn't just with cast nets. We've got an offshore section, which is pretty helpful as well. Jetty Wrap Fishing said, so keen for barra season.
Yep.
And Aqua Fishing said, hi Ryan, I caught a couple of courses a while back, but I haven't done them yet and was wondering how long do I have to do them?
Mate, you've got the courses for as long as we're in business, and we have the website running, and you can come and go from as much as you like. Watch them in your own time. A lot of people watch them over and over and over because they do pick up things that they overlooked the first few times. And you can, depending on the module or the area that you're going to fish in relation to that species, you can jump back on, log back in before you go out on the trip just to refresh yourself over that situation. And so there's no set time frame, mate. No.
And you do need time to come back because they are, on one species, it's your entire 30 years, basically, your magnus opus. So it takes a long time, even with the course. Generally, we say focus on one section, master that, then move, because you become an all-rounder. Yeah. I mean, we've got guys that have been in the course for 10 years, some of the first intakes. They're still watching it, they're still learning new stuff because they focus on one thing, master that, focus on the next thing. You can spin your wheels a bit.
Spin your wheels a bit because you're going between this situation and that situation with different tides and different areas, and you'll get confused. So quite often it is best to just concentrate on one part of the course first, and then at least do that for a few days, few trips, and then move on to a different set of tides and a different set of values regarding the fish and where they'll be. Don't try doing small, medium, large tides trip after trip after trip.
Yeah.
Focus on one thing first.
Or one area. You can focus on one
watch
location.
The others, of course.
Yeah, do it all. Watch it first and then
just concentrate. And then after that, concentrate on one particular scenario over others.
Yeah. Brett said, hey, Ryan, coming up to barra season, your knowledge in fishing, barra season and your knowledge in fishing. I see you did a lot of fishing in the Bohle River in Townsville chasing barra. Why did you choose the Bohle compared to the other rivers and creeks in the area?
Because it's there's something about that river being the southern end of Halifax Bay. It had, out the front, there was lots and lots of, you go around the corner there's lots of sandbars and sand areas and little creeks and bits and pieces that hold a lot of bait. So all the flats and that around the Bohle do hold lots and lots of bait fish. And whereas compared to other areas, all areas have got their bait, but that was just an area that had an outstanding number of large mullet, large whiting and garfish and things like that, all within a sort of 2 to 3, 4 mile vicinity of the river. So there was never any issues catching bait there. It was a fantastic place. Why it was better for Big Barra, that's all I can put it down to, is the food sources, because it was just more outstanding than any other river around Townsville by a long shot. The amount of Big Barra that were in there were just insane, not just in the river but on the flats and all that as well. So that's why I mostly used to fish there. I mean, I fished all the rivers, of course, different times of the year. We'd fish the Bohle more in the warmer months, although we'd fish there around the moons in the winter months when you get some of those oceanic fish coming in for that couple of hours either side of the high tide in the mornings. They were there for a certain scenario around the moon. So that's why they used to come in there as well. So we do that, and we do most of our summer fishing in there, either side of the closed season. And it was just one of those places that held bucket loads of big barramundi. But you had to understand how to target open water fish and the travelling habits of open water oceanic fish. That was why not a lot of people used to catch big barramundi down there. But places like the Horton and Crocodile and Alligator and Morrissey's, they were still good rivers, great rivers for barra, just never had the numbers of large fish compared to the Bohle. And of course we became known for big barra, and of course that's what we used to mostly target, big barra, especially in the last 15, 20 odd years of my career. And that's why we fished the Bohle a lot when I was in Townsville.
We actually, remember one of our students, I forget his name now, he did our course, went down to the Bohle, caught a meatery, and he got a sticker on the back of his ute, the same size as the fish, and said, I caught this during Ryan's Barra Basics.
Barra Basics, yeah.
We see it around Townsville sometimes, still got the same
people send us the pictures of it, yeah. That's great.
Hey Ryan, love your work. I'm from Mackay. Any tips on lures to use when targeting barra in ponds with lily pads? Keep up the good work.
Mate, with lily pads, yeah, they can get pretty thick and can be quite a bit of a nuisance. If you've got, of course, the surface lures and weedless lures are going to be your best bet. Surface frogs, you can get them to hop over lily pads with the hooks coming up through the back. It's not a lot of, it's not really the style of fishing I do a lot of. I mean, I have done a fair bit of it, especially in the earlier days. When impoundments and all that first started and Ross River was stocked way back when. So yeah, if you're fishing around a lot of lily pads, obviously try and work the areas that don't have the lily pads or along the edges of them.
Well, that's what's in our impoundment module, is how to catch fish in dams. Not necessarily, one of the sections is around the lily pads, but other sections are not. I do have a section in the impoundment module that goes into an area that I target them, and it's my favourite kind of area. Not the timber or the lily pads. Not the timber
or the lily pads. And it's a lot of the areas that even the gurus overlook, believe it or not. And you can have some pretty exciting sessions there, because when you do find the fish in those locations, they've generally been left alone because not many people know about it or are hitting them in that manner. So, you don't always necessarily have to, fish places with the lily pads.
And you discovered some of this because having gone on, you don't like midges, so you didn't like going up the creeks, if, that's salt water, but same sort of thing. And also you quite often have inexperienced anglers on board, so you want to fish the open water, so you're not so you got a better chance of catching the fish. Yeah.
A lot of my barra fishing salt water as well, especially for the big fish, is all based in open water scenarios. Stuff that you drive through or drive past or drive around.
We see people do it all the time.
We see people do it all the time, even in big flash boats. So, everything comes with time. Yeah. And that's how you work these things out. And if you've got the time, great. If you haven't, that's why my courses are there.
Yeah.
So
Ben said, hey guys, thanks for doing the live. My last trip up to Port Douglas, I finally got onto some barra off the beach on plastics. I only landed 3 from 9, kept losing them the first or second jump. Is there any way to tackle them spitting the hooks spitting the hooks so easily?
With barra on that initial hook up, trebles, obviously, you got a lot more chance of the hook staying in, but when it comes to paddle tails and things like that, and you're starting to use single hooks, If it doesn't get in the slot to start off with, there's a good chance that they will come out when they come out and jump and shake their head. There's a lot of bony bits and pieces in there that if the tip of the hook just gets stuck in there, it'll be in there for a few seconds, and on the first jump it's gone. Nothing much you can really do about that. A lot of people will tell you when a barra jumps to hold your rod tip under the water. Naturally that can help try and keep the line tight. But you can do the same thing by when you're seeing a jump, just crank on your handle, even if your drag slips a little tiny bit. It's all about staying tight. So that's what you can do, mate, is try and set up, if you are only using lures with single hooks like a paddle tail, see if you can put a treble stinger on it maybe, or it's particularly if you're on the beaches in open country, that's where using treble stingers come in handy, rather than say around a snaggy line bank or something like that where you're going to get hooked up all the time. So that's all I can suggest, mate, is go up to including a treble into your lure, or just trying to just crank like crazy the moment you see them jump, or hold your rod tip to one side and down low. That can help a little bit as well. So sometimes they stick, mate, sometimes they don't, and some days everyone will stick and some days everyone won't.
I jumped off 5 metres in one day, remember that?
She jumped 5 metres off in one afternoon with me.
In about an hour.
And then she carries on that I've never caught her a metre. I can only do so much. I can't multitask.
Benny said, your courses are the best, mate, and have helped me catch plenty of monsters.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Cheers.
mate. Tezza said, hi, I'm from Brizzy. Funny thing is, this morning I was making my bed and found myself throwing the doona across the bed like a cast net.
Off my wrist method, hopefully.
Yeah, Christopher said, run a stinger treble hook under the jig head. I think you just said that, yeah. Brandon said, hello, Ryan.
G'day, mate. How you going?
And Scotty said, how's the Kraken going and would you recommend it over other brands? What does it do better?
Well, we didn't get to use it a great deal up there, of course. When we got up there, we blew up the motor guide. It caught fire. So instant turnaround, straight back to Cooktown after half a day at Blizzard. Anyway, we've got the Garmin on there now. We've got the updates going. It just looks so much more robust than the other engines. It just looks like a tractor, It's just...
Yeah. And, well, we had to put thicker wiring.
Cabling in, yeah. But the spot lock on it is insane. It doesn't wander at all. It's just keeps you right on the money.
And you can, because he has me drive the electric sometimes if he's casting top water, but I'm pretty shit at it. And I get sidetracked easily, so I've, nearly run us up on the reef and stuff. I'm not a very good driver of the electric. But with the Kraken, you just have to point it. You don't have to go left, right, like... Yeah,
there's a function now, but you hold the button down and then you just move the handset from side to side and the motor will move with you. You don't have to toggle left, toggle right. You just press a button and you move it like this and the motor will move.
And you can set your track. So if you know where the reef edge is, you can set your track.
You can follow your tracks.
So you don't have to drive at all. You can just set your track and then cast.
Because it interfaces with your GPS and it's great because if you're looking at your sounder and you just want to move over a little bit or something like that, all the functions are on the top bar, come up on the top bar of your sounder. So you can toggle or move over, do this, do that, chop and change. Yeah, there's so many different functions. We're going to do a blog on it soon, and we'll put that up and show you all the different functions and interactivity it's got. Yeah, brilliant pieces of kit.
He's very, very happy with it.
Very happy with it. And powerful.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that 80-pound motor guide,
well, we didn't.
It would never throw you out of the boat, put it that way.
Hang on, it did throw Brett Ford out of the boat.
No, that was in the punt.
Oh.
Light aluminium punt. That thing weighs 2 tonnes. Got 300 litres of fuel, 100 litres of water, and built like a brick shithouse.
Brett Ford was one of Ryan's clients who came every year. and it auto-corrected and he fell out of the boat, dropped a custom rod
over this side
and his sunnies.
Yeah.
And Ryan said, doesn't matter, don't worry, mate. We'll see if we can jig it up. He thought, no way. Jigged up got the rod back. Then he said, well, here, you can use it. This is your lucky rod. Two casts later got a 114 barra. Yeah.
That's it. But
it's a funny story.
Yeah, like the motor guide sometimes used to occasionally just drift for a few metres and then all of a sudden it wants to auto-correct and it just decides to shoot back. And, of course, if you haven't got your wits about you, I'm pretty sure all you guys that have got electric motors have done this, you'll know that it'll literally throw you out of the boat. But putting an 80-pound motor guide on the 6.5 metre boat, being so heavy, it still works well without having to go up to the 36-volt engines.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, even on this Gar Kraken, even with the same 24 volts, you can use 36 on them as well. The brushless motor, they use less power, much less power, and honestly, we nearly threw ourselves off the bow of it the other day. I didn't turn the power button on, but I'd already pressed the revolutions. And for that heavy boat to be thrown sideways like that, those things have got some grunt. And I don't know what speed we were doing, but we tried it flat out in a straight line. And that boat, it was getting long.
You were dragging me behind it. I was snorkeling and he was dragging me behind the boat.
Yeah.
And we were scooting along. It was great.
Motoring.
I was having so much fun. I was going left and right.
Almost water ski.
Yeah.
No, not that good.
No, it was really fun.
Yeah, I'm really rough with them. Yeah, really rough with them.
Yeah. Now, who's this? Hunch said, love your videos. My New Year's resolution is to catch a barra on the surface. Do you have a go-to lure? Hard bodies or plastics like grogs?
Surface frogs are great for barras. Also, that's not a surface lure.
But you catch them on the surface, right?
Just under the surface.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's talking about.
He wants to see it smash it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the surface frogs are very good. There's a variety of them out on the market. And also Reedy's little stick bait. What's it called? Mental blank.
It's getting old, baby.
Getting old. Reedy's have a little stick bait out. No. Oh, God. Can you believe it?
Someone will type it, but their question will be, their thing will be so far down, I won't see it until 20 minutes.
And that's a great little, it's a small one, it's the smallest little stick bait that they have. Someone says the name, I'll remember it. Yeah. But it walks really well. It really resembles a popeye mullet very well. And, it's exceptional. We've caught a lot of fish on it, surface fishing for barras. And of course, there's a variety of small poppers out there that'll work too. But in saying all this, when you want to chase them on the surface, you naturally, for the most part, unless you really know a lot about the open water fish and where they like to be, you really have to be in shallow water scenarios to get it to work.
Hi, Ben Geddes. Hi, Ryan. Juggernaut.
I think it's called the Juggernaut. Yeah.
Kieran Fishing said tips for catching barra. Well, you've had a few already.
Yeah. I can't give away all the best stuff.
All the good stuff. It's in Barra Basics. Take a look.
And there's a lot of stuff in our free blogs, how to set live bait, all that sort of stuff. And lots of little handy tips in there.
Ben Geddes. Hi, Ben. Said, Ryan and Karen, after doing Barra Basics, I've been quoting Ryan too often. Now my wife is always having a go at me, asking what Ryan Moody would do in any random situation. So my request, Ryan, is to add an extra video in Barra Basics about witty comebacks for the wife.
I've got plenty of them.
He's got plenty of them.
I've got plenty of them, but I can't say a lot of them.
He does when he's not on film.
Yeah. I'm a different person off camera, trust me.
Oh, darling, not really. You're a wonderfully patient man. That's all I can say. I have plenty of strengths, but fishing is not one of them. Now, hope I'm not missing anybody. bugs are crawling on me. Stuart Gardner, it's what happens when hillocks are running the show. I don't know what that's about. Harry said troll spoons. That was probably in relation to the mackerel. Flasher lures for Spanish, nothing better. That's Daryl's.
Oh, that's the flasher lures.
Yeah.
In your poon, he makes a great metal slice. I've actually got some smaller ones here to trial out. We're thinking about doing a mackerel course next year. So for the spotties, the greys and the Spaniards, so I've got some of those flashes actually with me now. And I'm going to give them a go.
Well, a gentleman came down to the Mackay Marina, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, no, your Poon Marina.
Some great reviews on them too.
Bradley Green, you watched Nothing is Reasonable with these Muffets we call fisheries government. They will dig their heels in like they have with everything else.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, some people don't like me getting too political, but I am getting very political lately, and there's reasons for it, because we are the dumping ground for far left overseas conservation groups to implement what they want to implement. We have a very weak government.
I mean, we want to protect the fish stocks.
Oh, we want to protect, of course, we want to protect the fish stocks.
So we don't have any problem catching anything, so they can't be too endangered.
No. So, you got pressure from mobs like Pew that brought in all those massive green zones out in the Coral Sea. Well,
that was supposed to be the end of it.
Yeah. Well, that came after that.
More. And more.
And they were the ones that started a lot of the shark rubbish too.
Yeah, well,
and they're funded by oil companies.
Yes, there
was a whistleblower.
Yeah.
And it's all to distract everything that's going on with what oil rigs are doing to the ocean.
Yeah.
So if they can distract us with sharks and this, that, and the other. Overfishing and all this rubbish, then there's less attention on them. So.
Very cheeky. You have to follow the money. Where's the money? That's always what you got to do these days, isn't it?
Yeah. And
follow the money.
There's 8 points that eight things that they want the Australian government to do in order to keep the World Heritage listing of the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah, because every time we go snorkeling in it, the coral's bloody beautiful.
Coral is stunning. Some of the stuff we found up again this year, absolutely insane.
Finding Nemo stuff.
Oh, beyond that.
Yeah, one little bit of bleaching we found, which was right at the front of Cooktown with all that fresh water going over it. But just to the north, where there was no fresh water, there's no bleaching. I don't know what they're talking about.
That's right. And the bit that did have a bit of bleaching on it, we've been monitoring that reef for 44 years now, and it's been pristine.
Those plate corals have gone from dinner plate size
big
to table size.
Massive.
Yeah, in like 5 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And we were also told that after the last bleaching event up there, which was 2016, those corals had fully recovered by 2020. So it's 4 years to go from bleaching,
from totally dead,
back to beautiful, stunning corals. So it doesn't take forever and a day. It's a natural cycle. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit more bleaching this year because of the amount of rainfall. Coral does not like fresh water. And where does fresh water travel? On top of salt. And coral does not like water over 29 degrees. And this is one of the hottest water seasons we've had for quite some time. So it will be interesting to see what happens to some of these little pristine areas up there. And that's why we monitor them ourselves every year.
Yeah, we've taken a look. We give them our own names. These are unnamed reefs.
Some of these reefs are actually unnamed.
We give them names.
We named one after Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
We need to make it official though.
Yeah, he's our boat. He was our favourite boat band until Busby Maroo came along.
Yeah.
Two great boat bands if you like listening to really good music on the boat.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to it.
Right.
Stuart Gardner, how far do wonkies come down the coast? Is there any around the Sunshine Coast?
Mostly from Fraser Island north, mate. We have what we call a coastal sediment wedge running out to the reef. I do believe there has been some found down near Noosa.
Maybe like sinkholes.
And that, but they're not in any numbers, and we don't promote it down there because of that. I don't want people thinking we're ripping them off or, trying to find a needle in a haystack, because they'll be a lot thinner on. So from Fraser Island north, mate, is where we mostly say they are, but there has been a few found south of there.
But for wonky holes, inside of the Great Barrier. But Ryan finds bloody 50 of them every time we go north, you know, really. Even south,
This time we found 50 on one spot.
Yeah, we did. They were like pimples, weren't they?
Oh, that's because of the pressure on the water table.
Yeah. There's the link to Cara's put the garfish re-trolling mackerel link.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, could you give Shannon Wingards a shout out? He's a big fan.
Hey Shannon, how are you, mate? Like lines.
Brandon said we should come to Babinda. Kevin said hello from Geelong, Victoria.
Hey guys.
New Year's resolution was ordering a new tinny to take north with us.
Best way to go is north.
You can have a beer while live. Love your work, brother. Watching you every move. Andrew Armstrong.
Cheers, mate.
I gave Ryan same fishing knife set. Oh, Gary McKean, he's the one that gave you the fishing knife set.
Righto, yeah, that's working well.
He uses them all the time. He loves them. Cut, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Julian Wingards. Jules. Yeah, okay, those two must be married. Love your work, mate. Appreciate all your knowledge from Jace.
Thanks, mate.
Dean said it's not too bad my end, the background noise, they've quietened down a bit. Yeah,
we're just on dark. The cicadas were going off their chops.
Aidan said, hey, mate, love your work. Planning my own trip to Noble Island. See you out there.
Thanks, mate. You'll love it. I mean, you can't fish around Noble. It's a green zone, but it's a great anchorage on the southeast and the northeast, and so you can duck out further and fish other places. And just be careful. Just inside it is a preservation zone. You're not even allowed to put your big toe in there. No,
don't take your boat in there.
You see that little pink bit in the middle behind it? Don't go in there at all. But yeah, around the island, it's just an amazing spot.
It's just trippy.
Trippy, all right?
Yeah. Jaden said, still keen on that billfish marlin stuff. That might be
we might have to do something one day on it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Luke Edwards, if you sold the Riv, would you buy another? It's not a Riv.
It's not a Riv. It's a Blackwatch 40. Would I buy another? The Blackwatch is a great boat, don't get me wrong. But would I buy another boat? Well, it'd be nice to get something bigger. We can go further afield in, have more fuel.
More range. Bit more comfortable with the washing machine, so we're not washing out of a bucket.
Yeah, I mean, we've got aircon and desal and all that.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to just have a few more mod fronts.
If we won the lotto,
Back to basics, we are not.
Yeah. If we won the lotto, we would get a 50-foot cat.
60-foot. 60-foot cat. Something that we can winch a 6 metre tender up on the back of rather than having to tow it. I mean, towing's no problem. But
it is a bit annoying.
It's just the constant, pulling it up, tying it off, at the back.
And you have to have another it is a pain. And if we got caught in weather like we did going around Cape Bowling at Cape Upstead that day,
I wouldn't have gone around there.
We could not have towed in that.
No, I would have went around the corner and sat it out and waited for it all to die down.
It was horrific.
Yeah.
Hey Ryan, I've been trying to chase GTs around Cairns but haven't had much luck. Any tips?
Mate, to be absolutely honest, one of the closest places, especially when the water's a bit cleaner, is out on the leads. The last few leads in the shipping channel out there. There's quite a lot of GTs get caught. I caught that nice one there with Benny one day. And we were mostly chasing finger mark. But, they get some good GTs around there. Any of the reef areas or detached rocks that have, pressure point with Fusiliers exploding all over them, those sort of places.
We should do a course on GTs.
Yeah, wherever you see the bait exploding around the bombings out the reef, that's always a good place to try. It's generally a few GTs on them, as we found out on our...
Ryan tries to avoid them.
I try to avoid them. On our trout course, we were doing top water. They just got so annoying after a while, didn't they? Good fun though, but... Yeah, we were mostly up to big bucket list trout, which we got one and lost a couple others. But we only fished a couple of hours a day up there. It was so bloody hot. Yeah. I haven't seen temperatures on the ocean like that since the early 90s. It was insane. Now that we're older, we don't sort of handle it as well. So it was disgustingly hot.
You need a nanny nap, don't you, baby?
Well, we did. We're going from a freezing cold air-conditioned cabin to the Sahara Desert, to the freezing cold to the Sahara Desert.
Well, if you were to put
and I ended up with a flu on the third day.
If you were to put a canopy on that boat like I requested.
We had an umbrella, and it was still hot fishing under the umbrella.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, mate, love your work from Russell. Any chance you could share your wisdom on barra fishing the Endeavour River here in Cooktown?
Mate, there's one thing I probably can give away, and I mean, I know up the creek you will still catch barras up the Endeavour itself, but I think if you're mostly after more trophy-sized fish and the oceanic fish, this happens with a lot of ports, like Darwin, Gladstone and places like that. There's large fish like to find an area that they become resident on, especially on the smaller tides that they come back to. And in those kind of areas that have jetties and stuff out the front of, quite often you'll find that there'll be part of those jetties and stuff that will become their resident area. And so with Cooktown, that is out the front there around all the jetties and all those sort of places. And up the creek, yes, there's still barras up there, of course, but you don't find big schools of big barra. Well, not that I'm extremely experienced in the upper reaches.
We've only been up there a couple of days, haven't we?
Yeah, I've only been up the top of the Endeavour, a few times over the years. But that's generally the case with all ports that have massive amounts of jetties and pylons. Is the fact that a lot of those fish will make them their residential place to come back to, which means they just can be harder to fish. You'll lose a lot of fish getting cut off and carrying on around the pylons. And that sort of thing. But yeah, mate, certainly having a good high frequency side imager and just head up the Endeavour and have a good look around, and particularly around your medium, smaller and medium tides, and see what you can find. I know you'll find smaller fish up there, but I think if you're really after the larger fish, you've got to spend the time down the front.
Craig said, love your videos and information, great work.
Thanks, mate.
Catherine, no barras for me for a bit. The water is too high, 20 metres plus. Whoa.
20 metres plus? High. Oh, maybe that's Tinaroo or something. I don't know.
No, he said Catherine.
Catherine. Okay.
Any tips for barra in Marillion Harbour?
Marillion is a place that I haven't really fished off out the front. I have, but not so much in the estuary there. Once again, I know there's a lot of big barras around the jetty there, the ship loader, and that's the same situation. The rest of it's very shallow, and the upper reaches and that are rather clean. A lot of those rivers that are cleaner with the colder rainforest water coming down, a lot of fresh coming down consistently, they're not the best of rivers for barra. You'll still get some, but they're just not the best. And I would suggest any bigger saltwater models, or just like what we were talking about in Cooktown, they'll be out the front there mostly around those jetties.
How long is your 10th birthday going for?
From the 1st to the 10th. So it's our 10th birthday on the business. It's our 10th anniversary.
Yeah, it is.
And Roxy turns
11.
So almost got the 3 teens in.
I haven't had any alcohol for 21 years.
Well, yeah.
That's my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
So it's a big year.
Big year all around for us. Yeah.
And so we've got a mega sale on, bigger than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
So if you've been sitting on the fence for our courses, now's the time.
And this is honest, we have our sales each year, but we can't drop our prices any more than this time around. And we do feel sorry for people who are struggling financially and can't afford some of our courses. But realistically, we've got to be realistic in running this business as well. So, we've copped a hell of a hiding with our expenses going through the roof, without the ability to double the prices of our courses, because we're not a necessity. We're not a food storage facility. We are a luxury, and we all know that in hard
I don't know.
times,
I think it's good. Like, the men's suicide rate is 5 times that of women. So I really think that our courses, the feedback we get on our courses about how people's lives have been enriched, they feel like they're putting food on the table. They don't come back from fishing frustrated anymore.
Yeah.
The community is so supportive, and that really reignites their passion. So even though people think it's not a necessity, I think wellness and, is...
Well, if we all had to hunt for our food all of a sudden like that...
I'd be putting my money on you, baby. And your forky stick water divining.
Yep, that too.
We'd be right.
We'll be fine. But yes, well, fishing as a life skill, realistically, is not a bad thing to have.
And just the observational skills you get from our courses, because we don't hand it to you on a platter. We go, this is what you look for, this is what you look for, go and do your homework. And so that's why it's so fulfilling to people. If you just give people GPS marks, how...
Well, that's right.
It's just a handout, isn't it? How helpful is that? Not to mention, you give it to how many students have we got? 27,000? It's not going to be much use to you, is it?
No, that's right.
Hey, mate, got a few Murray cod at Wyangala Dam over the holidays. Good stuff.
I tried fishing for Murray cod once, many years ago, with some mates down in Melbourne, and all we did manage to do was drink copious amounts of red wine and King Island beef, and got drunk on the side of the riverbank and caught one cod about that big. But boy, we had a good time.
Yeah, you would have, because he used to import very expensive red wine, so you wouldn't have been drinking Jacob's Creek or whatever, would you? It been, Grange or something.
It was laid on.
Khaled said, have your discount started. Jeffrey just told me that he has changed over the prices now on the website, so you can go and take a look.
So those who couldn't hear maybe because of the plane, we were just asked, when does the discount start? Yeah. And Jeffrey's opened it up early, has he?
He just opened it up, yeah.
Okay, so the cart's open now instead of midnight?
For the cheap prices.
The cheap prices, yeah.
So go and take a look. You'll be shocked. Hey, mate, love your jigs. What's the preferred size for jigging in 50 metres plus of water?
50 metres plus, I would definitely go the 100 grams. I know some people say, 50 metres, 60 metres, you've got to use a 400 gram jig. Well, it can also depend on what you're chasing. The bigger jigs are great for stuff like dogtooth, the bigger pelagics and all that sort of thing. But honestly, I would use these jigs as deep as I possibly could in relation to the amount of run and getting to the bottom. So even though some people say, you don't use an 80 gram jig in deeper than 30 metres of water, that's rubbish. Use them in 15, 60 if it'll still get to the bottom. And then if you can't, just go up in weights. So yeah, there's no real set rule as long as you can get to the bottom. And like I said, it depends on what you're chasing. So the longer jigs and bigger jigs are better for things like dogtooth and that. But if you're chasing demersal fish, like your reds, etc., keep those jigs around that 80 to 100 if you can. A little bit bigger even, so that's okay.
Andrew said, "G'day Ryan, great chat. I'm a new local to Blue Water Marina and look forward to meeting you both."
Too easy, mate. We're down there from time to time.
H Row. Have you ever fished the Hull and Tully River with much success in barra and threadfin?
Out the front, I used to live at East Beluga. I used to fish the Hull River a bit with my kids. Caught some excellent jacks down there and big grunner. Never done a lot of barra fishing and never marked a lot of barra. Very, very clean river. It's crystal clear at times. You can see the bottom in 6 metres of water in some of the holes. And when it gets like that, barras don't like it. But yeah, had some success with jacks and grunner. And as far as the Tully goes, I don't fish up the top there at all for the freshies. I have done a bit of fishing down towards the front with a bit of success, but it's a very shallow river, and it's one you've got to be pretty experienced in knowing where to go and what to avoid and all that sort of thing. So for me, and access for me was rather difficult, so that's why I usually mostly fish down towards Hinchinbrook and Dalaki and those sort of areas down that way. Kind of left the Tully alone a fair bit.
Kyle said, how's the cyclone effects on inshore and offshore?
We spoke a little bit about it earlier. The cyclone this year, with the excessive rainfall, has caused a fair bit of damage, especially from Port Douglas north to Cooktown. A lot of the fish along the coastal flats and reefs have died off. There's so many bar-cheek trout have been washing up dead, plus other different types of aquarium fish. It must have had just such a quick inundation of fresh water, plus silt. The amount of the tons and tons of red dirt that have fallen down the faces of those hills are insane. We'll be doing a blog on it on our lizard trip at some stage, and we didn't do heaps of blogs this time. It was mostly for filming the trout course, but we have made a couple, and you'll see that we've released some of the drone footage, but yeah, you'll see it all properly in the blog when it comes out. But let's just say a lot of the coastal reefs and everything are covered in red silt, and pretty much I reckon all the coral will die, and a lot of the fish are going to take a number of years to come back. Yeah. But offshore, there's no problems at all out there. The trout and everything are insane as usual.
Wayne, do threadies bite after a lot of fresh water as the Bohle River has just been smashed with fresh?
They'll move out for a while until they get the right amount of salt tolerance where they can creep back in underneath. When you start getting a lot more cleaner salt water back underneath the fresh, they'll move back in. But generally, to start with, they'll always head out the front for a while. And the amount of time that they'll spend out there is dictated purely by the amount of water that the river's had, and when it becomes a lot more habitable for them. They can withstand a little bit of fresh, but yeah, not big heaps. And they will come back in when the time's right underneath the fresh water.
Johnny said, will the wonkies out the front of Cooktown produce after the floods we've had?
Well, they certainly produce for us we didn't do heaps of wonky fishing this trip because it was all about trout. But I ran over quite a few holes that had fish on them.
We only stopped a couple of times.
We only stopped a couple of
times.
And
you caught fish on them because we gave some to Jace from All for Adventure.
Yeah, on our way back to Cooktown from Lizard, when the electric motor blew up, when we came back to Cooktown to get the Garmin, was talking to the boys and they said, Jace from All for Adventures up that way and camping, and he's just lost the prop off his motor guide. And I said, let's get in contact with him, we'll drop him one off.
Yeah.
We don't need this one any longer. So yeah, that was quite ironic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, meeting up on a little remote beach in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it was a classic because the exact electric that his prop fell off, I mean, even to the size, was the same as the one that you blew up.
Yeah, XI5, yeah.
Anyway, so we stopped a couple of times.
And we just pulled up out the front of where they were, and there was a wonky there, and we caught 2 nice nannies and gave it to them for Christmas as well. So caught up and had a beer, that sort of thing as we do in North Queensland. Cameron said, whiting for barrel liveys, how do you rate them? Fantastic. Just got to make sure they're legal size. Yeah. Wayne said, threadies bite after the fresh. We got that one. Gary said, did you see the white barra in Tinaroo? Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah. They do get caught from time to time. It's a pretty rare thing in the salt, unless it's a fish that's come from an impoundment and has grown up in the salt. They do get quite a few albinos and cross colours in all the brood stock and stuff like that, because there's so many fingerlings. And I really don't know what causes it, but I just don't think albinos don't live too long in the salt. I think they'd be an easy target. But yeah, they do get them in the impoundments, and then getting them gold colours as well, gold and white as well. So yeah, they do. I've never caught one though. Out of the thousands and thousands of barra, I've never ever caught an albino or a cross colour. I've caught some that have got pigments in them. You've caught weird ones with no dorsal fins and stuff. No dorsal fins
no tail.
And no tail and all sorts of things like that, but I've never ever caught an albino or seen one in the wild for that matter. Mark Victorson said, hey Ryan, I used the Finding Fingermark course to get onto shallow water snapper in Moreton Bay and starting to understand pressure points and structure and how the fish forage. Tide, moon, etc. plays its part for sure, but your course gave me the idea to work in an area and learn to fish it. I see guys, as you have said, drive past me, past perfectly good fish all the time. That's it, mate. Spot on. And that's what the Fingermark course does. It's very general. It's a very good generic course for fishing overall, especially for those foraging type species like snapper and
bream, grunter.
All those sort of things. Yeah.
Michael Fox said, "Hi, you champions." Michael seems to always jump onto our lives.
Yeah, mate. How you going?
Thank you for watching. Jason Greer, "We don't deserve Ryan Moody. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge." Oh, that's
thanks,
lovely.
mate. Appreciate that.
You know, we get such wonderful feedback, and if you are curious about the courses, jump onto our website, ryanmoodyfishing.com, and go to reviews. You can search by common question, location, course, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews, all with names, you know, most with photos.
We don't make it up.
And you can search by sounder type, location, all that sort of stuff. So the reviews tab, if you want to get an idea as to what people think of the course in their words, not ours.
Yeah.
Hey, mate, love your work. What's your opinion on the mackerel closure and bag limits?
Well, yeah, as we've spoken about in previous lives, the mackerel closures and bag limits were a little bit extreme for what's actually going on. A little bit of dodgy science going on there, and I think they've actually admitted to it now. So we are waiting on the next round. Do I think it's fair? I'd like to see maybe people be able to take at least an extra one, you know. I mean, honestly, the Spaniards are like flies out there at the moment and have been ever since these closures. You know, there was one spot we were trying to jig some trout on the other day, and I went through $300 worth of jigs. The Spaniards were just thick everywhere we went. Spaniards. So they're not endangered.
No. You need to get some wire on your boat.
Well, we don't use wire on jigs.
Oh.
Because we're targeting other fish.
Right. Don't listen to the wife.
Don't listen to the wife.
Have you chased... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I don't think that they're entirely fair, but we do need to have realistic bag limits. It needs to be, you know, that medium there. And we've got to get that right.
We never catch our bag limit. We catch a fish and then we eat it, and then we go and catch another fish.
Well, that's just us. We don't fish all day and catch 60,
like
80
frozen fish.
No, we just...
I won't eat it if it's frozen. I don't even like it if it's been in the fridge a couple of days.
Yeah. I mean, even though we're a fishing business, we don't fish 24/7, 7 days a week.
No.
We're lucky to fish 2 hours a day when we go out there. We catch a handful of fish for content, and we go for a swim, snorkel, explore an island, beach combing, so many more things to do in life. But, of course, we still enjoy the fishing. And like I said earlier, I've got some kind of back issue that I've got to get sorted this year. I've had it for 4 years now, and it's really painful, especially pulling backwards. And, of course, that involves fishing. So
probably lifting all bloody however many thousands of metres into the boat.
Probably all the anchor pulling from years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know, throwing caskets and who knows. But anyway.
We did a bit of anchor pulling in Yeppoon.
When the anchor went shit itself.
Yeah, for the big boat.
I done all right though.
You did.
The heap of 3/8 shot linked up.
It was like, where are we going to anchor tonight? Somewhere there's only 3 metres.
But the trouble is it was blowing 30 knots, so we had to put a heap of chain out, even in 3 metres. Anyway, it's all good. Yeah, so I've got to get my back sorted this year. It's starting to drive me absolutely insane. You can only bear it for so long, and I'm pretty sure any of you with back injuries would know about it. I can still lift 80 kilo batteries, I can still run, I can still do this, still do that. There's just some things, especially when it revolves around straightening the back or leaning back, it just feels like I've got 10 knives running up the spine.
Have you chased threadies in Princess Charlotte Bay?
Not a lot. No, the last time we did try to chase threadies in Princess Charlotte Bay, we got eaten out of house and home by blue salmon. And Google Ryan Moody blue salmon blues. Blue salmon blues.
That's right, because
we had to abort fishing in the creeks there. Yeah. Well, we only had a few days in the creeks on the right tides, and it just happened to be that time when it blew up 30 knots for those 3 or 4 days, and the rest of the time it was beautiful. So we the whole time we were in the creeks, we had everything against us, conditions-wise, and not to mention 300 million bloody blue salmon.
They were
Everywhere you went.
hanging the lures over the side like dipping a tea bag. Like that deep, dipping a tea bag into a cup, and they were just fighting over it. It was pretty
So a little,
fun.
I found some threadies, I fished on them, but we just couldn't get the lures to them because the blues were above them. And, it was pretty annoying.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
I mean, it was good fun. We had a ball, but blue salmon after blue salmon after blue salmon.
It was fun in the end, though, because we were just like teabagging them. How bad does water release from dams affect the barramundi bite?
That depends, just like on any river, as to how much comes down and whether it's got a dam or not. The amount of water that comes down, it'll send them into a spin for a while, but like I mentioned before, they will come back in underneath the fresh, and of course they can tolerate it a lot more than other fish. You can virtually throw a barrel of salt straight into the fresh, so it doesn't bother them as much as other species, but it throws them into a bit of a spin to start with. I think it's more turbidity and that kind of thing.
Barometer, maybe.
Yeah. So they generally disappear for a little while, and then they make their way back in. Some will go upstream, and if you get on properties that have the runoffs and all that, which is a bit difficult on the east coast here, it's not as easy as in the territory. You can have fun with the fish up the top, and at the front, I usually go out to the headlands for a while and play with the fish out there, and then wait for the river to clean up.
Darren said, Barra season is back on and I bought a few scale blazers off you. What's the best technique for them?
The best technique for these guys, actually, we've got a video on the in the shop.
Yeah, after you buy one, you should have gotten an email.
Yeah.
On
these are all about a slow roll, and we mostly use them in a certain situation. But you can use them anywhere. You show it for barra fishing, ground snags, and that kind of thing. Even though they're slightly larger lure than most people would throw around a snag, it doesn't matter. The little fellas buff them as well. But,
and your favourite way of fishing them is in Barra Basics in our advanced techniques.
Yes.
And it's your favourite way of Barra fishing full stop.
It is, because we use these out in open water, like away from everything, in certain scenarios.
Yeah, and they come and get smashed.
Even if it's 10 metres of water, we're still catching them, half a metre under the surface.
Archie said, I remember I learnt my first FG knot when I was 9 because of your videos, and I love learning about Barra fishing from you.
Thanks, mate. Glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does the Kraken use less battery than others?
Yes, brushless motor.
Yeah, okay. Hang on. Lots of people saying you should do a show and tell on that hello from Cardwell, Jamie. Well, yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
We should do a show and tell at Cardwell. Snorkeling, he was trolling. Jason, snorkeling, he was trolling. Yeah, with me out the back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you wanted me to wear that bright coloured swimsuit.
No, that's what we do. When we do a bit of top water, we stick Karen out the back with an underwater camera ready to swim around and get footage of the fish coming into the boat.
Except I get sidetracked by the coral and the fishies, and I don't even realise he even caught a fish.
Out to you.
I've got the camera.
She's videoing coral. Meanwhile, we've got this nice fish on. Anyway.
What's a good size electric for a 520 top ender?
520 top ender. Certainly the 80-pound models will be perfect. The brands that have the smaller ones like the 55s, and that might be a little bit small for a boat like that. So I suggest going to 80-pound plus, definitely. And after using the Kraken, I would definitely recommend the Kraken.
Keith said thoughts on a water snake. I had a water snake for ages.
The water snake that we had was the 80-pound version, and it was from another company overseas. It just had water snake stickers on it, and it was it was not a bad engine, but it had a lot of power for an 80-pounder and very simple remote.
I don't think you can get them anymore, can you?
No, you can't get them anymore anyway. Who knows? I've got no idea.
Oh, that big one that you had.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was okay. No, it was all right, yeah. But I don't know about the other water snakes. I've never used them.
Tristan, hey mate, have you ever fished the Burdekin region? And if so, how did you like it?
Have I fished the Burdekin region? I have.
You grew up there.
Townsville, but I used to fish the Horton and Morrissey's a lot, and Bomber and some little bits and pieces over in Bowling Green Bay. But I also used to shoot down to Pearl's Landing, fish the Burdekin and Groper and that at Wallace's a fair bit. It was good actually because I was catching the shit out of fish down there, and everyone was wondering where I was going because they couldn't see me anywhere, and I was just saying, "Oh, we're in Morrissey's," because the background looks the same. But I was actually going down there, and they used to fish great. They were absolutely insane rivers down there. I think one of our best sessions was 52 over 85 centimetres.
Holy hell!
They were all at 85 to 95. I think we put 3 metre each, but it was just a full-on session of just really good-sized fish. And over about a 3.5 hour period, something like that. It wasn't all day. And the moment the lure was bait was back in the water, we were back on again pretty much. It was just madness. But yeah, caught some really nice fish down there, had some really good sessions. Loved the Burdekin. I haven't been there for quite some time now. I'm pretty sure it still fishes pretty well. I'm not quite sure how the bull sharks are down there. A lot of those rivers with good freshwater upper reaches now have a lot of bull sharks in them up here. So that's probably the only issue that we have in places like that. But yeah, no, certainly love the Burdekin.
Tim, g'day Ryan, really enjoyed the course info. Recently moved to Melbourne, so we'll be fishing around Port Phillip Bay. So I will really need to put that knowledge into practice, as I don't think I'll have as much luck as I did in far north Queensland. Have you done any fishing down south, and do you have any tips and suggestions?
Well, to be honest, we went to the sunny coast and we were dropping the boat off. This is when we done our trip down to Yeppoon in the big boat. We had to drop our tender off in Mackay because it was just too rough to tow it down from Cairns. So before that, we took the boat all the way to the sunny coast to visit Karen's mum. And also we went and done our trip to Moreton Island in the 4-wheel drive, like we usually do, and left the boat down there. But we caught up with my mate Steve-O while we were down there, and we've done a couple of days offshore, off the Sunshine Coast, off Mooloolaba, and which a lot of people say is very fished out. You've got to go out past the Barwon banks to get the good fish. So we thought we would have a sticky beak in the bay, up to sort of that 40-metre country. We were up to around about 12 miles, I suppose, from Mooloolaba. And I thought, well, this is going to test me out. And I put in the same practices that I do when I look for finger mark spots, and some open water areas with different substrates on the bottom. Studied the charts, had a good look around, and eventually we found, we didn't do a lot of fishing, done a lot of looking, but we found 3 or 4 spots that had good aggregations of snapper and pearlies on them, mostly the smaller snappers and that, inside the bay, and they were littered with fish. You know, we caught some and some tuskies as well, and mostly smaller ones. But by putting what's in that course into practice allowed me to, we only had a couple of days of good weather, then
I wanted to, I'm not allowed to say, swim with some mammals that I'm not allowed to swim with, but anyway.
No, you didn't swim with them, did you? No, you didn't swim with them. No.
Oops.
Whoops. They need video evidence, honey. So, anyway, I tried those practices down there, put them in place, and found some spots that haven't been touched in a very heavily fished area. And I was running less than half the distance as what the guys do. They go out and catch the good fish. So, and that was within a couple of days. So, mate, you just put it into practice down there and look for the same kind of country, study those charts, and and everything.
We've had quite a few people, the guy from South Africa, Mark McLaughlin, even his people in the fishing club are going, where the hell did you get them? And he goes, in the harbour, and they think he's joking. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, where did you really get them?
Yeah, no.
It's like us saying, yeah, the Coral Sea.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, in the harbour. And they're like, well, what did you do? And he goes, do sounder skills 2 and finding finger mark and get away from my sounder.
That's right.
Do not touch it. Do not go near it.
If you do sounder skills 2 and finding finger mark, that will just put you in good stead to become a great all-round fisherman. Yeah.
And then you want to specialise. The other courses will show you really specific stuff.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
David Dutton, g'day Ryan and family. I've been in the Northern Territory for 10 years. Caught a few barra, but nothing remarkable. New Year's resolution is to get a meatery. I'll definitely be signing up for Barra Basics. Greetings from North East Arnhem Land.
Thanks, mate.
We have wanted to go to North East Arnhem Land for a while.
Oh, there's a lot of places we want to go.
Next year, maybe a trip in the big boat.
Yeah, we'll
Sam Teresi, good to see you. And well, we just drive slower. What motors are in the Blackwatch 40 from Jamie?
In the mood swings, we've got 2 8.3 litre Cummins 550s, QSCs.
Steve said, cheers, mate. I've done 3 courses so far and find them very informative. Get rid of the water. Rum is better.
Thanks, mate.
Jason Holman, blokes always want a bigger one. Goodness gracious, we're a bit behind in the comments, aren't we, if they're still talking about the boats?
I know.
Ryan, if the barra farm gets flooded and the barra get washed out, people still think they are allowed to catch them as they come from ponds. But my feeling is when they hit the salt water, they become wild. Oh, yeah, in the closure. For sure.
Oh, in the closure, yeah, you won't be able to target them.
Yeah, no, you can't target them no matter where they came.
If they come out during the closed season, no, they're same as the saltwater fish, mate.
Yeah.
You can't target them, no.
Now, we must be getting towards the end soon. I messaged you the other day, Andrew, and caught a 46-centimetre cob first strip using the red scale blazer. Can't wait to try the other colours. Cheers. Oh, that's from Andrew.
Cool, mate.
Thank you. Oh, Murray cod. Yeah,
Murray cod.
Murray cod.
Oh,
yeah.
The scale blazer. Well done.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've had any guys use them down there yet.
Yeah, I think actually I remember seeing that comment. Ryan doesn't see some comments. Bruce Morris, well, I'm buying the Barra Basics course. Excellent deal, guys. Thank you. It is an excellent deal.
It is an excellent deal.
I can assure you. That's the same price we launched it at. When we launched it, there was half the content in there.
Well, now
didn't have the advanced videos, didn't have the empowerment bottle, didn't have the live, the land-based module, that land-based, or the night module.
No.
Plus 10 years of information in the study group.
The study groups are the goal. It's not just, we don't just have our courses, we have a Facebook study group where the paid members of those courses get to join and you get to ask questions. You can put up a screenshot of a scenario and ask our recommendation with the sounder 2 in a circle. You can put your photos up of your transducer placements and that sort of stuff, and we comment on it and this, that, and the other. And I'll tell you what, on a rainy weekend, you can just sit there and go through the Facebook groups, and there's so much more stuff that we break down.
And it's all searchable.
It's all searchable. And we got
so if you wanted to go, like, I'm going to King Ash Bay, just type King Ash Bay, and that in over 10 years we have discussed those areas at length with
and people
photos.
Talk about their reports and
they put circles around, and it's just like, honestly, it's gold.
There's so much more learning in there.
Dean Shirley, all the courses are great. Get on them, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, Dean's done very well.
Yeah.
Fished Black's Weir and had the most amazing opportunity to cast 3 times at an albino barra about 85 centimetres, a lifetime memory. That's Jono.
Cool. Yeah, you don't see many of them around, but they're generally where they in the barra farms or stocked impoundments mostly. Yeah.
Kyra said, Ryan Moody, what a great bloke to have a beer and chat with. Oh.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers.
What's the secret to catching barra in Tinaroo? I've never caught one. Cody.
Tinaroo was about getting all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed more so than any other impoundment.
Yeah.
A lot of people catch fish down there at night time more than any other impoundment. I mean, in Peter Faust, you can catch as many in the daytime as you can at night time. But Tinaroo seems to be one that functions.
Does fish a lot better at night.
Yeah, at night. It's something that I haven't got my head around. It's the hardest out of all the impoundments to fish, but it's also the highest. It's up on the tablelands, whereas all the other impoundments are down fairly close to sea level.
Well, we went up there to fish with Jack Centofanti, who, we mentioned him already, young fellow, did the course with his dad when he was still in high school. He's caught probably near 1,000 metre plus barra now, salt and fresh. But we went up to fish with him a couple of years after he did the course. I think he was about at 200 metres in Tinaroo.
That's when I got that flu.
And Ryan got the flu, and we went home early because he was sick. And then next morning we woke up and Jack had sent us a photo, 5 photos of metre plus barra that he caught after we left. So Barra Basics will help you in the impoundments, and we do have an impoundment section in Barra Basics, and at the moment it is $600 off.
Yeah.
It's as cheap as it was when we built it for our 10th birthday. So
definitely.
Do you think the tides and moon not only affect fish but other animals' feeding times?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. There's a lot of triggers in nature, and some of them are common in amongst a whole different heap of animals, and others not so common. They have different nuances, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty in-depth thing to kind of get into here, but yeah, no, all animals have their triggers, and a lot of them have triggers in common.
Nathan said, will you ever get out to Holmes and Flinders Reefs?
Oh, I'm not sure, mate. How long's a piece of string, I suppose, but there's a lot of places we want to go and fish and explore and carry on. But
it really is dependent on the weather where we go, because we don't like to anchor up in any ripples. It's a bit of a fair weather sleeper, and so we do follow the good anchorages for the weather conditions, don't we?
It's just natural. Everyone tries to find a good anchorage. I mean, we're a bit older these days, sitting sloshing all bloody night. I don't enjoy it anymore. Do you?
No. Oh, that when we Pearl Bay or whatever, and it was rocking sideways. Holy hell, I couldn't even cook anything. Even in the microwave, everything was going sideways.
It's the first time I've had to kick the tender out the back.
Yeah,
It was just ridiculous.
Anyway, after one night he said, screw this, we're going.
Yeah.
I jumped in the little boat.
30 knot winds.
I couldn't even see
you. Couldn't even see my fly bridge.
I was right behind him in the little boat, and he would go down into the trough, and I could just see the roof and the antennas.
Lucky we only had to go about 6 miles.
Yeah, it wasn't very far. It was pretty fun. I don't mind, going a bit. I find it fun in the rough, as long as it's not too long. It's fun to just go a little run.
I wouldn't put you in any danger, honey. You know that.
I know, baby. Ian Moody said, you better send me a few scale blazers, bro. You know my favourite colours.
Yep, I know what they are.
Is a Kimberley trip still on the cards?
Well, we bought the Super Tourer, and we bought our 4.6 built by my mate Cameron, our Barrier Reef boats in Carville, and we still haven't. I mean, we've had the Tourer over to Morton, and we've done the Great Kraken Tourer. But
basically, it's his daily driver down to get the milk.
Yeah. And I said to Karen this year, I thought, why don't we sell them? It's just we've got so many bloody toys and they cost so much money, and there's always something going wrong with one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just sometimes.
Well, we did buy it because we thought in that weather pattern that was coming up, we wouldn't get a chance to go in the big boat.
So we planned to go and do Northern WA.
Yeah.
Then they had rainfall just before we went over there. Destroyed the highway. The Fitzroy River washed out the whole bridge, the whole kit and caboodle over there. So it was off the cards. So we're back in the big boat again.
So if anyone's interested in the Super Tourer.
Yeah, if you're interested in the Super Tourer,
it might be for sale.
It might be for sale. I don't know. It cost me a packet. I'm not going to give it away.
No.
But I mean, it's a beautiful car. I mean,
but it's a bit ridiculous.
Forward driving, it's just insane.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
The power is amazing.
It's very comfortable.
Very comfortable, and I don't really want to sell it.
No,
but then if I'm not using it,
it's very hard to go and get the milk in though. It's quite difficult to get into a car park.
Yeah, you got to pick your parking spots and stuff like that. But
Anyway, we might go on a trip, but I would like to go to the Kimberleys in Mood Swings. I would like to,
some organisation to do for that.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm good at organising these trips. I organise where we're going to get the fuel, and you organise.
You do some of the logistics, and I guess they're safely.
Yeah. Aren't you allowing me any kudos here? No. I ring the Swift place and see if we can get fuel, don't I?
You do that.
Hey, Ryan, seen the hundreds of barra you've caught around Cardwell, but hardly any post about Cairns barra. Is the barra population off Cairns reducing? We have never gone fishing.
To be honest, I moved to Cairns so that we could keep the boat in the marina here. As you know, Cardwell, you can't even keep a tinny in the marina there anymore. So that's the most main. And I love Cardwell. And yes, I used to do a lot of barra fishing down there, but since we've moved up here, I've mostly offshore, and even that I've only done probably 8 or 10 trips out the front here since we've been here. So it's more or less a place to live, and we have the marina. I love Cairns. It's a good spot, except the traffic if you're driving into town in the morning. But I just really haven't done.
Once we went, and it was just after, we've had a few issues with the Evinrude, not of its own making. We park it next to the big boat with fenders down the side, and the fenders actually moved the shell that protects the breather. And what happened was then when it was really rough, I'm like, yay, let me go and play in the rough. And I jumped in the boat and I took off after the big boat and filled up the fuel tank with water.
So the fuel tank breather was not a breather, it was actually a pickup because the shell had turned around the opposite way.
Yeah.
And we didn't know.
Because I was jumping the wake and
we planned to come back and then go barra fishing, and the motor blew up.
Yeah.
Was it? No, that's right. The pistons got replaced.
No, we replaced
the dodgy piston.
Yeah.
It was a brand new dodgy piston.
Yeah.
And it let go the only day that we were
first
going to go
trip
barra fishing around
after.
Cairns.
Yeah.
So I just haven't had the chance really, and I probably have, but I don't know. I'm enjoying lots of other different styles of fishing these days, because once you've been a barra guide for 33 years or something, it's, I still love catching barra, I still love them, but there's so many other things out there and lots of other things I used to do that I'm enjoying again now.
Yeah, that seems to have taken priority.
Yeah, well, I love the top water. These days it's called top water. Yeah. Back in my day, it used to be called throwing poppers for giant trout.
Yeah.
It wasn't called top water.
Didn't have
there's stick baits nowadays, and there's this, that, the other, and So I'm enjoying getting back into that more than anything.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool watching them.
Yeah.
Especially when we have the drone up and then you can't see it, but when you watch the video back and as the fish, those 2 big trout were fighting over it.
I got one trout about 95 centimetres, and we saw he came right up and smashed the popper in front of us. But we didn't realise, we got it all on drone, actually. It's pretty cool footage. That'll be in the course, the trout course. I will probably do a short or something at some stage. But if you look really hard, you can see before the trout nailed it, another big trout's come up with him and peeled off at the last minute. And, he's nailed it. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. And we were hooked up to a GT at the same time on the other rod. So it was all hands on deck. It was a pretty full-on session, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty full.
And then before, on the first cast, we had a big blue spot trout come up, and he would have eaten that 95.
Yeah.
He was a monster.
He was massive.
He was huge. One of the biggest blue spots I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Pardon me. So that was a bit of fun. Yeah. Good fun.
Are you finding it hard to fish without sharks?
Am I finding it hard to fish without sharks? That would actually be nice.
No, I mean fish. You know what he means. I think he means, are you finding it? Are you getting too much sharks eating?
Oh, yes. There's a massive shark depredation problem. It was created by overseas environmentalist groups inflicting it on our weak government. So that's why it's come in. They've put the whaler sharks in the same basket as the whites, the makos, the threshers, the hammerheads.
All the endangered ones.
Tigers, all the endangered ones. We're so-called endangered. But
some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are, and I have no problem with protecting them till the cows come home.
Yeah.
But you do not put whalers in the same basket.
They're the cockroaches of the ocean.
Cockroaches of the ocean. And now we have a massive issue.
And it's going to be worse when they stop the gill netting.
Well, the gill netting stopped.
They are just, you know.
Can you imagine? I know wreck anglers are going to say, yay, no more baronets on the east coast up here. But you know what? You watch the shark problem go out of control now.
Because they wipe out all the babies.
That's it. And unfortunately, our fisheries department is governed by what the government says, and they're too busy listening to UNESCO.
Because the sharks are endangered, right?
Because the sharks are endangered.
Yeah.
I want to know what the other 5 things are that they've got proposed for the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, if we look into it, we could find
Because the first one was 1/3 green zones. They got that. Second one was the removal of gill nets. Now they've got that. The third one was the fish harvest strategies, which we started going through with the mackerel, the Nannygai next, and then there'll be all the other species. That's all come from UNESCO. That's all pressure from UNESCO, not our Australian government or fisheries department coming up with it.
And Pew, the oil
funded by the oil companies.
No, it was started.
You know what?
It was started by the oil mob, apparently.
Yeah, it was.
As a ploy to
take away the spotlight of oil rigs doing what they do in the ocean.
So we hear anyway. Can you believe what you read? But
the whistleblowers
anyway.
And they don't do that in America. All those massive green zones we've got out here, even the ones past the Barrier Reef and the Coral Sea, they're huge. That was all brought in by them as well. And they won't do it in America because it upsets the fishermen and upsets the economy. Yeah. So they just go and inflict it on Australia because Australia's weak government will actually do it for them.
Anyway,
don't get me started. I'm getting political again.
You are. When are we going to see a crabbing episode? We're going to do a crabbing course.
We're doing a crabbing course with just a cheap course, of course, with my mate Maxie, and he's a
gun.
He's a crabbing. I mean, I've done a lot of crabbing years ago, worked them out and all that, but he's a real crabbing gun.
A lot of strategy involved.
There's a lot of strategy, yeah. I mean, I know might just chuck a bit of meat in the pot and throw it somewhere, and you might catch a legal buck or two. But if you want to refine that, make it a bit quicker and a bit easier, we'll know exactly where to go when and all that. So that's why we're going to do a course, and also how to find them on side image as well. That's something I'll be adding in there myself.
So hopefully maybe April we'll go and film that.
Yeah.
Have you done a video on understanding charts on sounders and how to read them properly for better fishing grounds?
We do that in our courses, where we're kind of explaining in the finger mark course. We show a bit of that. In the Sounder Skills 2, we show a little bit of how to read charts to find certain scenarios, but not an overall one, no, because if I do an overall one, it encompasses a lot of stuff that's already in my other courses. So that's probably why we're not doing that. But in the trout one that's coming up, we show you how to find spots in the middle of nowhere by looking at charts as well. And
when it's applicable to that species.
When it's applicable to that species.
We do show in finding finger mark a bit too.
Yeah, Sounder Skills 2 as well.
Hayden has said, does water release from dams affect the barrabite? I think we already answered that one, didn't we? You might have, sorry mate, you might have to go back and watch the video. I can't remember what you said, but
it's just like anywhere. It depends on how much water comes down. A lot of them will either go upstream or head out to sea initially, but as the salt comes back in underneath and thins out a bit, they tend to get back into their general rhythm or groove, whatever you want to call it.
I'll be doing a few courses this year, guys, ready for the next lap of Australia next year. That's from Arn. Get them now because they're cheap. And you can, even if you don't have time to do it now, you can still watch it when you're ready.
Yeah. Sure.
Just completed the Finding Fingermark course. Would you recommend the Barnard's family group or headlands in that area?
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's some cracking areas there, mate. we've pulled in there a few times. Stayed over, done some overnight anchorages there, and haven't fished it a lot in recent years. Used to fish there years ago a bit. Certainly some really good spots there, yeah.
Jono said, if you cast a lure a million times, but do you remember that one cast that sticks in your memory?
Yes, I do. Me and Ruffy were talking about it the other day.
Yeah?
We were live baiting on a rock bar years ago down the Bohle River when I was working out the movements of the oceanic fish coming in and out of the river, the big oceanic barras. And while we were live baiting, we called it live luring. We were anchored and we were just casting deep divers out over the shallow rock bar and just retrieving them and just bouncing them back over the bar. And it was one of the first times we tried it. And although it might have been the second day we actually tried it. And a fish, I think it was 116 or 118. It hit the lure. It was a scorpion, a big 150 scorpion that you would normally use trolling. I think it was a 5 metre diver, but we're in 2 metres of water. And this fish hit it, and dead set, it jumped 3 times, one after the other, like straight away, heading away from us, greyhounding. And each time it was at least 2 metres in the air. We've never seen anything like it in my life. And every time me and Ruffy get together and have a chat, he always brings that up. And we were just talking about it the other day. And our jaws hit the ground. It was just like...
He was a high jumper.
He was a high jumper. 3 in a row, just jumping away from us, just like as high as he
Marlin.
could. It was insane. We were just screaming off our heads. It was
Did you lose him? Did you get him?
No, I got him.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I got footage of it, but I haven't got footage of those jumps because that happened immediately. By the time the boys could get on the camera, it was all over. But so I got the rest of the fight, yeah. But yeah, that was pretty insane, and that'll always stick with me. That'll be, as far as lure casting goes, that's pretty hard to beat.
Mm. Where's your favourite place to fish? From Angus.
Mate, favourite place?
No.
I think Lizard Island's always up there.
Yeah.
There's just so much to
pretty
do
fond
up there.
of lizards.
There's so many areas to go, and you can come into the coastline and chase other species. It's just brilliant overall up that way. There north kind of thing, yeah. I mean, Hinchinbrook, yeah, the barra fishing in Hinchinbrook, when it fires up, it's great. Had plenty of memorable sessions there. And even back in the old days, where I probably had my best barra fishing ever is in the Bohle River. That little creek that runs right through the centre of town, pretty much. So, I pretty much like it north more than south.
YouTube Combust Up said, G'day, hope all is well. Do you miss barra fishing, and are you going to crack a few this season?
I don't overly miss barra fishing, but yes, I am going to start doing a bit more again. We've done a little bit on our trip down to Yeppoon, but in some of the estuaries there, 95 I think was the biggest one we caught, but we were just unfortunate to hit a freakishly cold water
we were in
season.
Jumpers the whole time.
We were in jumpers in October. The water was 21, 22 degrees. Should have been at least 27 and a half by that stage. So a lot of the barras were doing a lot of their wintertime things, and they were playing up a little bit. So, but we did catch some. That was the most important thing.
Oh, I just touched it and it bounced past everyone's comments. Oh my goodness, it's getting late. Someone said for a beginner around Maggie.
A beginner around Maggie Island.
Yeah, I can't find the...
Well, you're restricted to land-based. There's rocky headlands you can walk to and throw poppers off and that sort of stuff, especially if you can see a current line bouncing off it. The jetties, some of the land-based areas that you can fish off. Picnic Bay Jetty used to have a whole heap of herring underneath it. It was always a good starting point. People used to catch mackerel and things off there. And just general fringing reefs off the headlands if you've got access to a boat.
Yeah, he does. I found his comment now.
Okay.
Chris, he said, "Hi, Karen and Ryan. The wife and I really like your content and have given us inspiration to get out on the water. Any tips for beginners on good spots for catching some good fish around Maggie Island?"
Yeah, just look for some of your deeper headlands and fish where the coral and rocks meet the mud or sand kind of thing.
Finding finger mark would be
Finding finger mark would be a good one. There's lots of scenarios in there that are applicable to the island and island areas.
And sound skills too.
Oh, yeah, of course. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking at to start with. Probably find some areas to get some good live baits. Because sometimes in those, the islands that have had a hard fished kind of history, sometimes using liveys over lures can be a little bit more beneficial. But yeah, there's plenty of places around the island, especially around the back there, near White Rock and that. There's some good little headlands off there. It's just a matter of, finding stuff with the sounder, detachments, stuff like that.
It is getting close to 2 hours, so we are going to wind up soon. I've just got a couple more questions left.
We've got another live coming up.
Yep. Where can I catch a barra in Rockhampton?
Well, just about anywhere, mate. You don't have to go far in Rocky. You don't have to go far really anywhere to catch barra.
No.
I mean, even though I haven't fished from here, I know that, 120 metre walk through there, I know there's a headland that's covered in them. You don't really have to go too far anywhere to catch barramundi.
No. And that was always your thing, wasn't it, with everything? Because being a charter operator, obviously, keeping costs down, keeping fuel costs down is a big one.
And all this also depends. With Rocky, if you want to fish with the hordes and masses up around the bridge, you can, but sooner or later those big fish schools down there are going to start getting very lure shy once everyone has started fishing on them for a number of years. So spreading your wings and looking for places out of the ordinary is what it's all about for me.
Two barra basics.
Yeah.
It's cheap as chips at the moment.
Definitely.
Scotty J said, "This is better than watching Married at First Sight. Love your work, guys."
I certainly hope it bloody is.
I watched it last night, but Ryan didn't even want to hear.
I don't watch TV.
No,
I hate that shit.
He doesn't watch TV.
It's rubbish.
He's downstairs.
How can people watch that? I guess I'm too old school.
No, it's the train wreck does become, you can't take your eyes off it. But it's idols.
Where do they find those sort of people?
I don't know how they find the people to go on it.
So people watch it because it's a train wreck?
I watch it because it's a train. Well, I don't really watch it. Well, I've watched one episode and then I switched over to Idol and then I was a bit bored with that. So I'll probably end up on Survivor. Why
don't they bring out docos anymore, like fishing shows and good docos? That's all we do watch on Netflix is docos and stuff. They should bring it back to free-to-air television, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I've caught some monster barra in Hinchinbrook using live bait at night. Scoop up little stripies and bony brim in the shallows in the dark. Go sit beside the weed beds, no sinker, just a single hook and leader.
Yep, they'll certainly work.
Yeah. And I'm running out of questions. How many boats have you got? 5.
4.
The tender?
Yeah, we've got Stroppy. That's on the bow of the Mood Swings.
Mood Swings?
We've got Mood Swings.
The blue boat?
The blue boat. And the 4.6.
4? I can't count. Oh, my God.
You can't count. Yeah, last time we had a sale, you stuffed up on the sale prices
I
too.
did. I totally did. And that locating liveys is the same price as when I stuffed it up.
Yeah, there you go.
Because otherwise, how do you say lowest price ever?
Yeah, I know.
So that is, We are getting out of questions and it's coming up 2 hours. So I think it's time for us to...
Yep, we have another one coming up shortly.
In a week.
Yep, we'll try and find a bit of information about what's going on with the fisheries and stuff too.
Nannygai. But the big news is 10th birthday sale. If you're wanting to get into one of our sales, now is the time. The sale prices,
like ever, to get into our courses now.
And if you're sitting on the fence, jump into the reviews page and have a look at the success other people are having. And even experienced anglers say, "Why didn't I do this sooner?" I thought I knew what I was doing, and and these are people that are catching good fish, but it's just totally changed the way they look at their fishing.
That's it.
So that
and it's not the sort of stuff you'll find on YouTube.
No, and there's lots of.
Some people say that. It's funny, eh?
Yeah.
I just go to YouTube.
It's free.
Go to YouTube. It's free. Go to YouTube.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck with that.
Well, if you have a look on our on that reviews page, there's common questions, and there's will I find this on YouTube, and you can have a look at our students that have done the courses
and
that go, how
YouTube.
insane was I thinking I could find anything like this on YouTube?
That's right.
So YouTube, Google, nothing compares, because it's secrets that Ryan held.
People like me who are at the top of their games in the fishing don't give away their information for free.
They don't give it away at all.
They don't give it away at all. So they'll give some tips and hits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they don't make a course out of it.
No, not you spend 30 years learning it.
Yeah, exactly. And shit, now I haven't even told my brother yet.
He's watching.
I know he's watching. He's doing a good job though. He's done pretty well.
What about Ruffy? Does he know everything?
Not quite, no.
No?
Well, he's done pretty well too.
Yeah. But pretty much everything is in the courses though, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends how much you want to grab it by the balls and run with it and actually listen to it, put the effort in. If it doesn't work on your first day, don't drop your bottom lip and go back to doing old habits. Just stick with it, because even on some days you might go on a day with bad barometrics and stuff like that, and some guys hit the ground running and others take a little bit longer. It's just all the variables surrounding fishing.
Yeah.
So, but once the patterns do start to work for you, it doesn't take long before you're on top of the game.
Yeah, and it really is. It's really about observation, what to observe, what to focus on, and what to ignore.
Yes.
Because many people, the 90% of fishermen focus on the wrong stuff. The 10% of fishermen put all their energy into the right focus, and that's what we teach you in the courses: is how to hone your focus into the right area. And
All right, guys. Well, we might sign off for tonight.
Yeah, I reckon.
And we've got another one coming up next week, is it? I think. I haven't even looked at the
I
calendar.
found all these other questions that we didn't see before. Quickest way to get liveys in the fresh?
Not something that I really do. You can't use cast nets, so a lot of people tend to resort to little bits of bait and lines.
Fish traps and stuff.
Yeah, maybe bait jigs might work.
Nets, mate? I don't know.
No, you can't use.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah.
What's the first step of getting a shark cull season? We don't know.
We don't know, mate.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Lobby fisheries. Would you consider a new course around pelagics in general?
Yeah, we are tossing up doing mackerel.
Yeah.
And then it won't be just one species; it'll be all species.
And what's your favourite lure for barra? And that is it for the questions.
My favourite lure for barra, this guy here,
Scale
blazer. And my favourite lure for using in deeper situations instead of a vibe is our sinking stick bait. They flutter on the fall, and that's when fish bite your vibes and plastics, is when the lure's falling. Paddle tails will have a bit of action on the fall, but vibes don't. But these guys here have a lovely fluttering action like a dying fish when they're on the fall, and that's what drives fish mad. So they're the two I like to use mostly for barras, both shallow and deep.
Righto. Thank you very much to everyone for coming.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you at the next live, or might even see you in one of our courses.
Yeah, in the study groups, hopefully. All right.
Cheers, guys. Have a good night.
I can work out how to turn this off now.
It's the off button, honey.
You sure you want to end?